So, hello everyone. Good evening. Once again, this is another episode of our MBA Preparation Edition 2020 series. Previously, we had two episodes with Lucky, who have converted IIM Ahmedabad, and then we also had Nikhil, who converted IIM Bangalore. So we showed you the journeys of these two people, of these two students, starting from CAT 20 up till converting the dream college where they wanted to go. So they were both engineers and they had work experience. But today we have a slightly different profile. Now, the idea of doing the MBA Prep Talk has always been that we convey as much as information to every one of you, to all our CAT 21 aspirants, and show the different kinds of information and show how different profiles or different students coming from different profiles react to these scenarios when they're preparing for CAT, and show you a different picture altogether. So today we have a student who is an engineer. She is a graduate from Delhi University. She is a fresher. She has experience, but she did a lot of internships in marketing and in HR for different companies. And she has converted IIM Kozhikode, IIM Trichy, and as well as IIM Shillong. So I'm hoping she's going to IIM Kozhikode, but then let's see. So this is Ritika Negi we are talking about. Thank you so much, Ritika, for joining us today.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is my pleasure to be here and actually talk to you and just share my journey with everyone.
Great. Okay, so before we start, Ritika, just a small announcement I would like to make to all the students who are watching this video. So if you like this video, obviously press the like button. Share it with your friends, follow us on YouTube so that you can keep following all the content that we make specifically for all our students, be it the MBA Prep Talk series, be it all the different kinds of videos related to quantitative aptitude, the logical reasoning, data interpretation section. There are a lot of videos that are available for you to actually browse through and learn something from it. If you want to join our courses, we have given all the links in the description below. We have different offers going on. So everything is given in the description below. Maybe you can check it out. Okay, so without any further delay, Ritika, back to you. So let's start with the fact what motivated you to do an MBA. I mean, I know this was a question in your main exam. I mean, in your main interview also, like, why do you want to do an MBA? Yeah. But more than the practical approach, I also want to know what motivated you to do an MBA, given that you have a very different profile. You're not an engineer, you're a fresher, and at the same time, you're someone who is a non-engineer. So why don't you say something? Share your story as to what motivated you.
So one of the biggest thing which a person, if you are appearing to do an MBA, you should be clear about is why. Because in every step or every interview you would be appearing for, you would be asked this question. And especially being a fresher, you don't have an experience, so you don't actually get to know why you want to do an MBA. So if, especially for me, doing an MBA was something which I had in my mind way from like 12th standard, when I used to study business studies and marketing and all these subjects. I really loved the concept of management as a whole. But I think actually the concept of MBA and CAT was introduced to me in my college, in my first year, when I worked for a company during my summer breaks. I was working for a company, and over there I actually saw how a corporate world works and how those managers were actually managing and working hard and actually stimulating us to give our best. And I think that was something which made me to get all those internships and actually work in different departments to get a holistic view. And that was something which actually gave me an experience, and I was actually be able to justify why I am doing an MBA. And I think that was something which worked for me in all the interviews, working in different projects and having different leadership positions, especially as the project head or a coordinator, and in different, as you told, all of them, like I worked in an HR and PR departments, and all these things actually helped me to actually justify what I was doing, what I am doing actually. And I think if anybody is doing an MBA, they should be clear about this question. And if you are preparing for your interviews in the future, I think you should be very thorough with this answer. Don't make it seem to be like you have just mugged it up from Google and you're just prepare it for yourself, make it like a story. Just tell them that this was your story and this was the reason why which led you to do an MBA. I think that's something which I would advise everyone to do.
Great. And we know that storytelling is nowadays is one of the main aspects of any kind of business. All the companies are all adopting the storytelling measures, the storytelling tactics, which are be it in any like mainly in marketing and sales, storytelling is very effective. That's great, Ritika. But what I also wanted to know is like about your decision. So you finally decided that okay, I want to do an MBA. What was the reaction of your family, like your parents? Did you consult with them, or did you take this decision by yourself and you said, no, I have to do an MBA, I cannot do anything else? So what was the equation with your family in that respect?
Okay, so coming from a middle class family, they don't really know what CAT is, what an MBA is. They used to ask me, what does a manager do? And what are the colleges which are famous? They were only aware about IIM Ahmedabad. And they were not even aware about all the other colleges and the job opportunities that a manager can have in India, especially. They always told me that you can go for CA because that was something a commerce graduate is supposed to do according to them. They always told me that go for a CA, why are you going for an MBA?
Yeah.
And especially for me, I started my journey in the last year of my college. I was preparing in the second year. Although I was not very serious with the preparation, but I appeared for CAT 19, and you would be shocked to know that I just scored 48 percentile in my CAT 19. And from that, and coming to and just grabbing myself up and just preparing again that no, I won't be giving up, and I would again analyze what went wrong during that CAT 19 exam and won't repeat those mistakes. And I worked on all those drawbacks which I faced during that time, and I worked more hard in CAT 20. And I think that's a journey which is really huge. But I think I've always seen people, when I used to search for motivation online, I used to see all the people who are achievers, who are like, I scored 92 percentile in my last attempt, but I want to score more. I never saw a person who were below 50, or I would say below 70, who's actually got and cracked CAT next year. And I think doing it myself, and I always had in my mind that I want to be that person who would actually motivate other people, that even though you are an average person, you have had an average academics all throughout your life, but still you can be someone who can do this and who can actually crack this exam.
That's great. That's great. And so you were preparing like full-fledgedly in 2020. And tell me something about how you prepared. I mean, let's start with the first. Let's start with your favorite subject, actually, because that's something which I always ask students. What was your favorite subject out of the three? Like, was it English, quant, or DILR?
For me, it was VARC because I loved reading, and I took it. I really enjoyed reading different articles, and I got to learn so much about the world. Reading different articles, each article has so much information. I really used to enjoy it. I would not say it was favorite because I used to have an amazing score in it, but it was something which I knew that I can work upon, and I can increase my attempts, and I can actually score well in it. So I really used to love it, and I really used to analyze that. Especially, I think in VARC section, one person needs to actually analyze each and every question. Like, why? Just question yourself. Why did you mark that answer, and why did you choose? Basically, what happens is people get confused in the two options which are left in the end. And I think you need to actually analyze and question yourself that why are you marking that option, and why it went wrong, and how are you supposed to actually think during marking that answer. And I think that's the biggest advice I would give if anyone is facing problem in accuracy with VARC. Just analyze your mistakes, be it in a mock test, be it in a question. Yeah,
that's great. And how about DILR? I mean, usually DILR is like the toughest section for a lot of people, and frankly speaking, it has been the toughest section. So although quant was initially years back, quantitative aptitude was considered to be the toughest one, but now we see that trends have changed. It's DILR now. How did you manage the DILR section? How did you prepare it? And like, what did you feel that was the best way to approach that section?
Okay, so if a person is starting with preparing for CAT, I think first you need to get thorough with all the topics which are present in CAT. I think this year what happened different was we got a straightforward set from Venn diagrams. I was from slot one. So we got a straight question from Venn diagrams, and it was a bit difficult, but it was just straightforward question. If you were thorough with doing Venn diagram and you would have practiced it, you would have been able to crack it. So I think first you need to be thorough with all the topics which are present in DILR. And then I would suggest that after 1 or 2 months, just mix up all different types of topics and then move to the sets which contain, because we know CAT is something which not usually gives you straightforward sets comprising of tables or line graph. It mixes 2 or 3 concepts together. So I would suggest that after it, start practicing those sets. And one of the biggest thing would be which sets are supposed to be picked up and which are supposed to be left, and which sets are the things which you can do in the time frame which you are provided, because 40 minutes time is something which you can't risk, because 40-minute time, either you can do it or you would be losing a huge chunk of time. So I think do a lot of sectionals and topic wise tests.
So what was the most difficult part in DILR for you? Like, which was the most difficult part? Or maybe the part which you were not very interested in and you felt. And I mean, there are some times when you know that okay, I don't like this particular part. And for example, quantitative, when I was like, when I was preparing for GMAT, and although the GMAT quant is much easier, but there are parts where I did not like. For example, trigonometry is something which I hate. Absolutely. So I used to prepare less. I prepared more for the areas where I was the strongest, because I wanted to develop that strongest part first and then maybe move to trigonometry. But and thankfully that section did not have a lot of questions also when I was writing GMAT. So that was effective. Did it happen with you also, something like that you did not like this area in DILR? Not a lot of questions came from that particular area. Did it happen like that with you?
Ma'am, so games of tournament is a topic which is huge and the questions are so difficult. I would not say difficult, but I did not really like solving them. So, and the questions were so huge to read, actually took a lot of time. And I think in this time frame of 40 seconds, I would not have been able to attempt, easy questions if I would have picked up a games and tournament topic. And I think that is one of the topics which do not really appear. It's, once in a blue moon if it would appear in an exam of CAT, especially. For a lot of years, it has not appeared. So I think that was a topic which I was not really comfortable with. Although I did basics of it so that if there is an easy question, I can actually attempt it. But I just left that topic. I did not do a lot of questions for the topic because I was sure that if it would appear in the exam, I would just scan through it and just leave it. That was the strategy I had. And if I talk about QA, one thing which I left was number system. Number system was something which is a huge chunk, and the weightage it has in CAT is really less. Being a non-engineer, I was very picky about what topics I was doing in quantitative aptitude, because I wanted to play with accuracy rather than just because I knew when I was doing CAT 19, I did all the topics, but I was not really, perfect with any topic. So I made sure that I would do a small, or I would say 80% syllabus, but I would be so thorough that if any questions appears from that, all those topics, I would be able to crack it. So that was my strategy for QA. Okay.
So, Ritika, how about the different kinds of questions that you solve? Okay, so you talked about what you didn't like when you were preparing. So, how many questions did you solve on a daily basis for each and every subject? So, did you prepare for every subject daily, or you had a proper schedule in which you did a few subjects on one day and the other few on the other? So what was your strategy when you were preparing, and how many questions did you solve?
Okay. So for me, what I believed is that I need to keep in touch with all the sections and almost all the topics. I think revision is something which is really important. So my day started around 4, because living in a small house, I was not able to study in the evening, or in the matter of fact, even in the morning. Yeah, ma'am, because living in a small house, especially in lockdown, I would not have been able to study because there is no personal space. I used to just wake up, And then I used to move with VARC. I used to read 3 RCs and solve all the questions, analyze those questions, what went wrong. And after it, I used to solve 2 to 3 PJs, odd one outs, and para summaries, 2 to 3 each for all these topics. And then after analyzing them, I used to move on to DILR. And I used to either solve a sectional test for DILR of 1 hour or 40 minutes, or either I used to solve 2 to 3 topics. Like, let's say for this day, I picked up bar graph, line graph, and Venn diagrams, for example. And I used to solve 2 sets from all these topics when I was initially preparing. After it, I moved to solving sectionals and sets in a whole. And if I talk about quantitative aptitude, I used to move, I just night before I used to prepare what I want to study the next day and the topics which I would be doing. And if I picked up a topic, first I would go through all the basics because I was self-preparing. So I had to, put on much more efforts into finding out the material. First, I used to actually study the basics. Then I used to move on to S.K. Verma book and solve all the examples. And I actually made a formula notebook which consisted of all the questions which are found to be unique. If there is any unique concept in a question, and I used to just write it down so that I can just come back to it later and revise it. And after it, I used to solve questions, level 1 questions. And until and unless I used to give approximately 3 or 2 hours to quantitative aptitude.
Every day?
Yeah, 2 hours approximately.
Okay. And 1 to 2 hours VARs?
1 hour each to different, irrespective of how much time it took. I used to actually work on doing the topics and just ticking the to-do list of the day rather than focusing upon the time and like just studying for 4 hours. No, I would not used to do it. Actually, I used to focus upon if the topic is over in, like, it would, even if it takes 3 hours, I would give 3 hours to it. That was my strategy.
And how about DILR? Did you prepare every day for DILR?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I used to give every day at least 1 hour to all the 3 sections, at least. Yeah.
So how did you manage your timings? Because you were also, doing your internships and everything. So how did you manage the timings? Because this is a question which comes in the minds of a lot of people, because they're also working professionals who are non-engineers, but they are working. And then non-engineers are not working, but then they are a little skeptical of taking up a job or an internship while they're preparing for CAT. So can you tell how did you manage your timings? Like, what was your schedule like from morning to with respect to the internships also?
Okay. So I used to, as I told you, I used to wake up at 4, and approximately I used to get done with all the studies by 10 or 11. After it, I used to, solve for non-CAT exams. I was also preparing for non-CAT exams. So actually, I focused upon that preparation as well, because I did not want to leave it for the end after I got done with CAT. So I made sure to read, general GK, because I was focusing upon exams which asked GK. I used to give at least 15 to 20 minutes to GK. And I used to study word power made easy so that I can improve my vocabulary as well. And these were the things. Approximately, I used to get free by 10 or 11 with doing all these things. And after it, I was free the whole day. And for me, I was working with CRY Foundation in their PAGS projects. So I had to teach children also, because in the lockdown, I was teaching them. So they had a class around 3 or 4 in the evening. I used to give them classes. It was to take 2 to 3 hours. And after it, I was free. And I also was doing my graduation. It was last year because, because of COVID, it extended to, I had my exam in August, and so, because of COVID, the exam got extended so much that I also had to prepare for the exams as well. So in the night, I used to study a little bit for my exams too.
For your exams.
Yeah.
And so did the COVID scenario help you? Because I know, like, when you're, let's say, doing an internship, you need to go to a particular office and sit there and then work.
Yeah.
Here you don't have to, right? You save the commuting time, which is quite a lot. So did it help you in any which way, the COVID scenario?
Yeah, I think of course it helped me, because I'm doing a regular college. If I would have been it was not because of COVID, I would have to go to college every day. And I think that would have become very hectic for me. especially because I had a short of attendance because of all the internships I have been doing from my first year. And I would have to prepare, because of online exams, you don't really have to prepare a lot. You just have to be aware about all the subjects in your college and in your undergraduation. So I think that has actually helped me to prepare good.
Great. Let's talk about the great. So let's talk about the mocks. So which mocks did you take up for your CAT preparation?
Ma'am, I, along with my one or two friends, we purchased different mocks and we used to share all those mocks. I prepared from Hit Bullseye, I prepared from Career Launcher mocks, and I think those have helped me a lot. And I think not just giving full length mocks, but a person should also focus upon giving sectional mocks and topic wise mocks as well, because they help a lot. And I used to get this guidance from all the people that you should, when I was preparing my CAT 19, I used to get this guidance that please prepare section. But I did
sorry,
not.
Ritika, your voice just was lagging behind a little bit. Can you just repeat the last part? So which mocks did you take up with your friends?
So ma'am,
we just lost you there.
Yeah, I solved Career Launcher and I also solved Hit Bullseye mocks, and just we mixed and matched one or two mocks from all the free sources there are. There are a lot of free sources in the internet. You can actually use it. I also used Kraku mocks as well. And I think I also solved a lot of sectional mocks and as well as topic wise mocks. And I would suggest everybody to actually solve them on a very regular basis, irrespective of how much time you are giving to a full length mock. Make sure that you are very regular and consistent with solving at least sectional mocks. In a week, at least you can, depending upon how much you have prepared and how much time you have, you should give a lot of time and use this tool. This is a very amazing tool. Being a CAT aspirant, you can actually use this tool of mocks. Don't see it, people really get hesitated when they are giving a mock. Don't hesitate, just use it as a tool and just learn from it. Be happy if you make a mistake, that you won't, thank God you have made it right now, so that you won't be making it in the exam actually. See it in this way.
Yeah, that's a great thing that you said. Because that's a great thing you said, because a lot of students scared of giving mocks because they feel it will I don't know, dissuade them, it will demotivate them, but it's actually obviously I mean, you feel bad about it.
That's true.
But you also feel good about the fact that you're making mistakes in the mock exams and not the main exams, right? Yeah, that's a great part. So how, when you talk about, you said sectional mocks. Mocks, I mean, the sectional tests you're talking about, right?
Sectional
the individual section wise.
Individual sections,
Okay. And so total, when did you start writing the mocks? Like which month? So CAT was in November. So when did you start writing your mock?
Okay, so I started preparing seriously for my CAT around in May starting. And after it, I started giving mocks slowly and steadily. You just start with giving a full mock so that you can actually get the idea of what a CAT exam is all about, so that you can know the topics which are coming and so that you can just be familiar with it. And I would suggest that sectional mocks are something which you can give whenever you have time. Let's take an example that you are not feeling like studying. You just open a sectional mock, give a VARC mock. Just you have to actually motivate yourself that it is just a matter of 1 hour. So it is much easier to give a sectional mock than giving a full length mock for a lot of people. So I would suggest just in the initial stage, start with solving a less number of mocks, but initially when you get closer to your CAT exam, focus a lot on the mocks you are giving and analyzing them, not just giving mocks, but actually analyzing them. It is much more important than giving a mock actually.
Yeah, true. And I think it actually helped you because your percentile and the fact that you actually converted the college which you wanted to, that's an amazing advice that you gave to the students. Let's talk about the CAT day. So how nervous were you? I mean, when you're writing mocks, so you know that this is a mock. Somewhere in your head, you have that thing that I get a mock. But in a CAT day, it's like that judgment day. कि यार आज फैसला होगा कि मेरे साथ क्या होगा. So, how nervous were you? And when you started writing CAT, did you actually like feel like writing mocks and preparing dedicatedly, giving 4 to 5 hours of preparation every day actually helped you? So, what was your reaction?
Okay, so on the D day, a lot of people say that treat it as a mock, treat it like you are giving a mock. But actually, that cannot be done. You are going to a center you have in your mind, irrespective of how much you tell your mind that it is a mock, but you know that it is not a mock, it is an exam. But I think from the starting of the preparation, don't make CAT exam a big deal. I think people make it a life that I want to crack this year. अगर इस साल नहीं किया तो फिर मेरा क्या होगा? इस तरीके से लोग इसको treat करते हैं. So I would suggest don't make it a big deal. Just enjoy this process and just like a day before your CAT exam, just enjoy that day. And when you wake up in the morning, you just have to be chill that I would give my best. I have actually prepared whatever I could have been done. I could have done. I have done it already. And I would just go to the center, give my mock, give my best. I would not think about the result and I would not think what can go wrong and what can go right. And one advice I think which actually helped me was if I scored great marks in my mocks, I used to not get really excited or really confident that yeah, I have achieved something really great. And if I score really less, I was really neutral about it. So I think that was something which made me help to be calm and composed during my CAT exam.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And so finally, I mean, once you got your CAT results, then you had another tension, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody is like, पहले तो mocks लिखना है, CAT नहीं करना है. CAT अच्छा हो गया, CAT का result आ गया, फिर the next stage, which is the GDPI preparation. So, tell me something about your GDPI journey. Like, what was your experience while preparing for group discussion first interview, and something which you faced very personally, which no the students cannot find it in any piece of advice given on Google. Something just about you.
Okay, so a lot of questions are asked based upon who you are as a person. I have prepared a lot of answers on tell me something about yourself. But I remember in my Shillong interview, they asked me, who is Ritika? If I am someone who's asking, who is Ritika, what would you tell me? And I gave them an answer that if you are my friend, you would know me like I am a very calm person. I told them all the points and I told them I'm a very opinionated person. And because of this, my 15 to 20 minutes interview went on. They asked me my opinion on all the different GK happenings which are happening around the world. They asked me, what are your thoughts about this? What would you have done in this scenario? And I think
Ritika,
that.
So was this for IIM Kozhikode, or for which college was this experience for you're talking about? Or was it like a generalized experience in all the colleges?
No, ma'am, this was for Shillong. And for me, especially all of my interviews have went because I have been working in social, I've volunteered a lot and I've done a lot of social work. So a lot of interviews went in a dilemma type of situations. And especially if I talk about my Shillong interview, they asked me really political questions and put me in a situation like you are in a bank. And just take an example, there is Mukesh Ambani who is standing in the line, but before him, I am standing. He said, I am a very poor man. I am standing in front of him. So what would you do? Would you just make me just you would tell me to wait and you would attend Mr. Mukesh Ambani first, and he was just cross questioning me. So one thing I would suggest everybody is, I heard that people used to say that they are actually cross questioning you, they are cutting you in between. But I think don't see it as a cross question, see it as a conversation. They are making a conversation with you. You are saying something and they are asking you something and they are telling you something. Make it as a conversation, be honest. And one of the biggest advice I would tell you is, I was very nervous when I started with my interview because I thought that I have very average marks in my CATs. And I was really nervous that I thought that if I don't have CATs which are great, I would not be able to actually impress the interviewers. But I think it was not the case. Now I would just tell you that, guys, it is not the case. You can just be yourself, prepare for the interview, be aware about the surroundings, have an opinion, be a strong opinionated person, and prepare your answers according to your story. Don't copy other person's story. be authentic, and I think you would be able to nail the interview and whichever interview you appear for.
Okay. And no, you said that you had very average ACADS. I
Yeah.
don't want you to tell the exact percentage, but can you just give a ballpark figure? Like, what was your ACADS on an average? Just a ballpark. Maybe you can give a range also, so students can actually understand what you're talking about. You know, which particular ACADS percentage you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so in my 10th standard, I actually scored 85%, and in my 12th standard, I actually scored 82%, and in my graduation, I scored 7.2 CGPA, and it is a very pretty average score. And during my school also, I have not been a very active person, having national scholarships or having national, participating in different competitions. But I think still I have been able to nail it, and people really were impressed. They asked me a lot of questions, but these questions like why are your academics poor were not really asked from me, except from an IIM Lucknow interview. But they were not really harsh about it. They wanted to know what went wrong, and I was actually able to justify what went wrong and how now I have realized that how important academics are. So you just need to tell them that you have improved from the person you are. That's the only thing they want to know. You don't have to be scared that you won't be able to actually get into a B school because you don't have a great profile or you don't have a great past academic experience.
No, but academic experience is one thing, but profile is another thing. You know, profile also consists of different extracurricular, co-curricular activities that you have participated, in. Not in school,
true.
but maybe in your college or maybe any work experience you have. Yeah, I mean, one thing which is sure, which you correctly pointed out, that academics is something. I mean, if you have something, you have something. You cannot go back in your past and change it, right? The only thing which you can do is just face it and give the best shot.
That's true.
Whatever you have, whatever resources you have, you play with those resources, right? Okay, perfect. So, how much time did you give for your GDPI preparation every day?
Okay, after getting done with CAT and when the results started bombarding, I actually started to look for an institute which would actually give me a personalized importance so that I can actually be myself. And I do not wanted an institute which would just give me an material and I would just have to read it and prepare for it. So after doing a lot of research, I actually found Top My Test, and I really, ma'am, loved your approach of you, how you actually took a pre-interview so that you can actually know me as a person and you can know where I was lacking. And I remember how one or two interviews in the beginning were, I was so nervous and I could not even speak, but you made me improve on all those things where I was lacking, and I think that has helped me a lot in my GDPI preparations. And you being a non-engineer and a commerce graduate yourself, it actually gave me your personal experiences and how actually a commerce graduate, I actually got inspired by you a lot, that you are also a commerce graduate and you have done it. And I think I would also have been able to do it. So that was something which helped me a lot. And apart from it, reading a newspaper and watching YouTube channels, there are a lot of great YouTube channels you can just subscribe to who provide you with GK content every day. Make notes. I used to make notes. I had a notebook where I used to make notes of all the things which are happening in the world and that could have been asked, and just making an opinion, writing an opinion of what are the things which you think about all the things which are happening. Apart from it, if you are fresher like me, you would obviously have to prepare for the academics. And I think the material which actually helped me was first the Top My Test material which you provided, and apart from it, the PI kits which were offered by the IIMs when you crack when you get a call. I think that was something which helped a lot too.
I think the PI kits are very, very effective. That's a very good thing which the IIMs actually do. They provide an amazing PI kit, and students fail to understand that most of them say that मुझे तो पता है, मुझे देखना नहीं पड़ेगा, but that's wrong. You should actually look at the PI kits offered by the IIMs.
That's true.
And I've seen the PI kits are actually pretty effective in your preparation. Great, Ritika. Thank you so much for your kind words. I didn't know you got inspired by me, but good. My idea is to inspire as many as possible. Thank you so much. But one thing I would definitely like to say, and this is to my students also. So I feel that inspiration just does not come one way. Every year train a lot of students, and I've been doing this for the last 8 years. And let me tell you, there have been numerous students who got inspired by me, but more than that, I got inspired by so many of you. And one of you was you, Ritika. Frankly speaking, I mean, so much inspiration, because it's just that it's not that I just give you the learnings or I teach you something, but every time I speak to a student, I listen to their journey and the efforts that they have put, the challenges that they have undertaken. I also learn a lot from you guys, and I learned a lot from you also. Even though you're much younger, but still, I also got inspired by you at a very young age. You were the cultural president of your university, which is a huge deal. And yeah, I mean, and you did so many internships. You constantly kept on working on your file, on yourself, and that is the best part. And if I remember, I told you, Ritika, that you're a very pleasant personality, and I think this was a feedback also which was given to you in one of the interviews, right? The
Yes,
main
ma'am.
interviews
Yeah.
in the college.
Yeah.
So that's very important, and I think that's what you guys also should know, that no matter what problems you're having, make sure you smile in your interviews a lot. As Ritika rightly pointed out, make it like a conversation. Don't make it like an interview, because
Yeah.
they actually will open up with you more, the interviewers, if you open up with them in the right order, obviously. So Ritika, when are you joining? Like, when is your joining date? For IIM Kozhikode, I suppose you're, as of this is your best call. So when is your joining?
Ma'am, most probably it will start by mid-July, I think. But we have not got the exact date of joining up until now.
Okay, perfect. So, any piece of advice you would like to give in the end? You have given a lot of advice to the students, but anything, just like a closing advice you want to give it to the CAT 2021 aspirants?
So I think a lot of aspirants are actually confused whether it is the right time to actually start now. Do they actually have the time left to start preparing? I would just want to tell you guys that you don't actually have to be perfect to just start something new, but you have to actually start to be a perfect person in that field. I was not perfect. I scored 48 percentile, but still I, picked up myself and worked on all the things where I was lagging. And I think if I can do it, anybody can do it if you have the will and if you are just calm and composed about doing what you are doing. And I think just go for it, start your preparation and just enjoy this journey, because I learned so much from this journey that my friends now say that you analyze all the things a lot. You should stop analyzing. The cat is over. Stop analyzing all the things which are happening around you. But I think that this journey has taught me a lot. You would, after CAT would be over, you would have turned out to be an amazing person who would have learned so much about the world, especially, and so much about yourself too. So just enjoy this journey, guys.
That's great, actually, and that's so very true, because this is a journey which you learn, and it will not only be effective right now, but when you're actually applying your placements while you're in the business school, it will also be very effective there, because you've gained so much of confidence. And that's what aptitude tests are for. CAT is nothing but an aptitude test, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what teachers do. Great, Ritika. Thank you so much for joining us. Guys, this was Ritika Negi. She is so far she's joining IIM Kozhikode, but then she also has a few more results to come out. If she gets through that, maybe she'll go to one of those colleges. So Ritika gave a lot of good advice. Make sure try to follow that as much as possible, because it is really effective what she said. And specifically, I'm talking to the non-engineers. If you guys are scared, don't be scared, because as Ritika rightly pointed out, initially she got a very low percentile in 2019 CAT, but in 2020 CAT she analyzed herself. She worked hard, she works very really hard. She had a proper schedule. She managed her time. She took her preparation very seriously, and we all know what the result is. So it's very important that you do the same, and all the best for your CAT journey. Enjoy the journey, as Ritika rightly points out, and don't get scared. And be safe, stay at home, stay healthy, do not get coronavirus. Try to maintain social distancing, wear your mask while you're going out. It's very important. And I wish every one of you all the best. Again, if you like this video, like this, click the like button, share it with your friends, follow us on our YouTube channel. And if you want to join our courses, then all the links have been given in the description below. Thank you so much, Ritika, once again. All the best.
Thank you so much for having me here, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, guys, we will sign off for today. We will come back with another episode of the MBA Prep Talk Achievers Edition 2020 series. Till then, bye everyone.